story time of that one time I tried to give a broke Muslim man a chance. And if you know me, you know that I like a man with money. If I do get married, it'll be for money. Call me a bad person, but you won't call me broke. If you know, you know that I went for Umrah back in December. We actually matched, I want to say like 2 days before I left Houston for Saudi. So when I got there, I mean, he texted me, but obviously I didn't text him back because I was like, I was with my Lord. So after I finished Umrah, like my second day in Saudi, I was like, all right, let me see. Because, dua, ya Allah, 6 feet, six figures, make it happen. So, ooh, my hands are ashy. So I was like, all right, let me see what this man is saying. So I go look at his message. It's very reasonable because my profile, my previous profile, because deleted, because I go through phases. Previous profile had a lot of detail about me. So if you're starting, I look at how people started the conversations. It gives me a sense of if they have read my profile or not, which is important because there's information on there that's gonna make our connecting a lot easier. So why would you not use that to your advantage? Anyway, he had read my profile, and the first question he asked me was about my cat. Y'all know me, I got my Momo. So he had asked me, like, what's your cat's name or how old is Momo or something. He had asked me about that, and I was like, okay. He picked up something about my profile. We can start a conversation. It's not just, hey, how are you doing, or hey, tell me about yourself, because automatically I'm going to unmatch. So we started having a conversation. It was really good. We're hitting it off. By the time I was in Saudi for 10 days, I want to say, by the time I had left Saudi, we had already had like voice call. So things were going really good. And I believe we had already exchanged WhatsApp numbers. I can't, the details are kind of foggy in my mind right now, but it was going really well. So come back to Houston. We continue talking to each other. Now, going back to the broke part, I knew he was broke. The thing is, he is, I like my men older. So he was 5 years older than me. So one thing that I like men older is not even like they're more mature or whatever, because men are stupid regardless of their age. My thing with a little bit older men is that you've had a little bit more time in life to get money. Okay, let's be straight. You've had more time in life to get your money up. But he had switched careers and he was back in school to do something that inshallah was going to set him up for money. And his dean was, it was good. It was good for me. So I was like, all right, you know what? This Dean is good. He is making these, and like the way he explained it to me, like the reason why he left his previous career, I was like, all right, cool. That is honorable. I like that. That's honorable. So anyway, we continue talking, and as we're going along, and I was like, look, people like to ask me like, what is your timeline? I ain't got one. I don't have a timeline. I could be here till thy kingdom come, and we'll be chilling. But if I'm talking to you, I do have a timeline with you. You're not about to string me around. You're not about to ring around the roses. This is not a carousel. There's a start point and there's an end point. So I did tell him that, generally I don't have a timeline, but if I'm talking to someone, you have a specific amount of time for milestones to be hit. And if they're not hitting that way, then let's not waste each other's time, because what are we doing prolonging things? I'm not for that prolonging things game. So he was on board with it, and he was like, the only thing that would have been holding me back is school, but I purposely chose not to start looking for someone for marriage until I was almost done with school. So he was like 4 months away from graduating or something, and he was like, now I know that if I meet someone, this I'm at a place where I would be able to, take that next step with them. And I was like, cool. So there's nothing holding you back. We're just establishing compatibility, blah, blah, blah. He comes to Houston. He comes to visit me. We have a good time. He was here for like 3 days, spent a lot of time together. It was awesome. He goes back to his state. So he lives in another state. Part of his family's in New York, and then part of it is like back in an African country, which will not be named because y'all are nosy. And then we're like, Ramadan, we're going to continue talking, just lots of dua, istikhara, making sure Allah is this person for me? So we're talking, and then during Ramadan, and then part of like the talking stages, of course, we're having disagreements here or there. Nothing major though. It's just again establishing what you're willing to compromise on and what are non-negotiables for you, which is what you go through with every talking stage, I want to say. Anyway, Ramadan comes around, we're talking, we're getting to know each other, we're making plans for me to go to his state. So it's like towards the end of Ramadan, it's I want to say in the last 10 nights or just before the last 10 nights, and we get into a disagreement. I get into the disagreement, and then like the where he was like, you know what, I'm let's let's do this again tomorrow because right now I don't think we're gonna get anything accomplished. I'm like, all right, cool. So the next day I call him and then like I was just having a bad day. So we had a conversation, a nice little, vulnerable conversation. And then after that, we didn't talk for a minute. And then we ended up talking like a week later. And in the midst of that conversation, he was like, so one of the things that he had told me that had led to us like having a disagreement, he had said, I thought that I was gonna be certain about you by this time or at least by the end of Ramadan, but I don't think that I'm going to have the answers that I'm looking for by the end of Ramadan. And I was like, if you're unsure, then the answer is no. I mean, you're not hurting my feelings, baby. Let me go. We are having fun out here. But that's basically what I told him. And he was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. And I was like, look, it's either a yes or a no. And I don't know is a no to me. And what he had told me was because we had had that disagreement the day before, and then I called him that next day and then had that like emotional, vulnerable conversation with him, he said he thought I was trying to manipulate him. And I was like, make it make sense. So basically, that's how we ended. I ended up just sending him a message that, I mean, it was the main thing for me is like, if you don't know, at this point, we had been talking for what, since December, January, February, March. When was Eid? Whenever Eid was, we had been talking for like 4 or 5 months. If 4 or 5 months in, you're saying that you don't know or you don't have the answers yet when it comes to me, then the answer is no. I'm not gonna give you more time. Hello, 4 or 5 months. I'm good. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what happened. The him being broke part is just I like a man with money. So it was a little bit easier for me to just like, because I'm like, first of all, he was broke. So, like, in the process of us talking about like what our lives are going to look like, I was like, look, I'm sorry, baby. I live a very comfortable life. I'm not moving in with you in this current disposition that you seem to be in. I'm not moving in with you. So we can live separately or you can move in with me, but I'm not leaving my life. So yeah, that's the one time that I tried to give a broke Muslim man a chance. So at the end of the day, baby, please come with money. I need proof of funds. I'm so sorry. I don't do struggle love. Anyway, bye.
Apparently, you guys are interested in my dating life. I don't know why. It's not that interesting. And I'm very strict, if you can't tell from that last video I made. So the last date I went on with like a man was like in December, January. So whenever I'm doing my videos and I'm like, I'm going on a date, it's more than likely a solo date or I'm meeting up with one of my homegirls because a date is a date. It doesn't have to be with a man. That date in December, horrible. I met this gentleman on Muzz. If you know me, all I do is talk trash about the Muslim dating apps because they are horrible. But I met him on Muzz when I was still on Muzz. Went back and forth for a little bit and he planned a date. All good. Now it's the actual date itself that was a problem. So we went to a restaurant, a Mediterranean restaurant in public, lots of people. Like when I met up with him, he was wearing like dark shades. And this is like 8 p.m. This is a nighttime date. I understand that, shades can be part of your outfit, depending on where you're going. If you're going to like a club or like a party or something, shades can be like part of your outfit. Not to a date, not to a restaurant. I don't think. I didn't say anything, and I just sat there like in my head the whole time. I was wondering, so are you gonna take off these dark glasses? Or so he had the dark glasses on the whole date, and to me that was just something that I would have brought up eventually if he made it past the first date, but he didn't. So the main issue was he was in between careers. What does that mean? He's unemployed. And he was transitioning into the most unstable field ever. He was leaving his science-based master's degree, mind you, he has a master's degree in his field, background that he had worked in for like 3 to 5 years or whatever, to go and transition into tech. And transition into tech, first of all, the tech guys, they always get a side eye from me because when you say you work in tech, do you have like a bachelor's, master's degree in like computer engineering or something tech related? Or do you have your degree in English or whatever and then you took a 6 months course and now you say you work in tech? Because like your industry is constantly laying off people. And like realistically, looking at a company, if you were gonna lay off somebody, are you gonna lay off, Joe with a 3-4 year bachelor's, master's degree in his field, or are you gonna lay off Nick who did a 6 months course? So he was trying to do a 6 months course and transition into tech. And honestly, we were not going to work for many reasons. Like physically, I wasn't attracted to him at all. The dark glasses to me was just like, why? And then being unemployed. So he told me he'd been unemployed for like 4+ months and that he had just joined Muzz like 4 months ago. And I was like, why would you choose the point in your life when you're unemployed to start dating or, you know, to start looking for marriage? Like, what was the reason? Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. Anyway, needless to say, that went nowhere. After the date, you know, we had like 1 or 2 very dry conversations after that, and then like we both just like never texted each other again. And I was like, love. Unhealthy ghosting on both parts. Yes, let's not communicate. But yeah, that was the last date I went on with a man. And again, he didn't make it past 1 date. And people hardly make it to 1 date. But if you guys are interested in my dating life, should I go back on a dating app? Which